And welcome to another video. Today I am doing a bowl in clay with clay. So today I decided to kind of just freestyle and see what I got on the wheel. Didn't have anything in mind. But I ended up doing a bowl. So I'm starting out with clay. I'm using my regular pottery clay. And if you have the materials at home, I would encourage you to try it and just follow along. So I cut out a slab of clay, and since it was kind of dry, I'm just wetting it, like adding some water to it, and with my sponge here, and just wedging until it was kind of smooth. So this process took a while, and I'm gonna speed this up. So this process so far, this is just part one. I haven't painted it or fired it or anything, but this is just the first part where I'm doing the actual bowl, and the next day where I trimmed the bowl. So this was kind of slippery and kind of hard to wedge and make soft, so I put this on the wheel and I added some water to start with the process. So centering is the first step in making a bowl. This is probably the hardest step, which takes a lot of strength to be able to get the shape of it or get it centered where you want it. So this actually it took me about a year or two to finally get it, because I started very young using the wheel. So I didn't have much strength yet, but now I can center it with a little more ease. And then just wiping my hands on the water bowl, getting all the junk off. On this step, it's probably where I have the potter's wheel at the fastest speed. I don't have it all the way up, but it is faster than what I do for the rest of the process. So I'm just wiping my hands here because I took a break or something, and it just helps to have a wet towel beside you to clean your hands. So I'm just going to proceed with the process, and sorry that the view is kind of covered by the bowl, but I'm just making the hole in the center and starting to expand the size of the clay so I can start making the bowl. So at this time I was not exactly sure what I was gonna make, either a vase or anything. And that's what I love about clay. It's like you never know what you're gonna end up making. At this point, I considered making a chip and dip bowl, but I decided to go with just a regular cereal bowl or soup bowl. So when you do this, if you ever try this, make sure to go all the way to the bottom, but leave at least an inch or 3/4 of an inch of clay at the bottom so you have enough for trimming. So I'm just working on the center or the bottom of the bowl and making sure it looks good, and then I started with my walls. I'm just pulling up softly and letting the the potter's wheel do the work, and then it becomes way easier to just pull and make your walls taller. So I'm just pulling up, and at the very end you have to have a lot of patience before you let go, and then you can, here I got up to kind of get some stuff, some tools, and I'm using here I have a wood rib. So I have a wooden rib here, and I'm just taking out all the gunk from inside the bowl. And here's where I got a metal rib for the outside, just to get everything from the outside. So I'm using this to just pull up and use this opportunity to pull up. So here I wanted to go on the inside, but I didn't want it to do anything to the inside and damage it. So I decided to just use my sponge. And then I trimmed the top with my needle. And then just with my sponge, here's where I move the bowl, and just to give a better view for the video, because I just realized here. And then I just use my sponge to kind of smooth everything out. And so here I got my towel out and just cleaning my hands up. So I just took my wire here and sliced down the bottom. So I came back the next day, and I just gently took the bowl off, and I'm gonna trim this, but I wanted to dry it off a little more using my heat gun. So I just went with this for the edges of the bowl, just the whole bowl, to make it, to have it dry up. I sped this process up a little bit. That's not how it usually goes. But I'm just drying the whole thing. And I'm just going to dry off my whole bowl. So I'm working now to drying the side. Just making sure it's all dry enough to trim. And I turned it around just to see if everything was going well. I took my wooden rib and I slid it across the wheel, and also with my sponge just to clean it up. So finally I put it on the wheel and I'm gonna center it to make it, to be able to trim it. So I'm taking some wet pieces of clay and making it into a coil, which I'm gonna press down to hold both the bowl and the wheel together. Here I left to get some supplies. So I got my trimming tools and I'm gonna start with this one. So at first, it felt kind of wobbly. So I took out my needle to just see if I had kind of gotten it wrong. When I saw that it was centered, then I put the clay back in. And I kept on going. It kept feeling off. So I went in again, but it was just giving me some weird textures on my bowl, so that's why I kept feeling it. And just also the wet clay would stick to my bowl. I could have waited another day, but I just wanted to finish with the bowl so I could let it dry and paint it. But took my needle tool again because I felt it was off. So I don't know if something was wrong with some proportion was off inside the bowl, but I kept on going, ignoring that, and I'm gonna speed this up. So I sped this up a little bit so it wasn't too long, and I just kept using different tools and different trimming tools. Eventually I switched to this one, which is a little thinner, and then just placing my hand on the top so the little bits of clay would fall off. I kept using my hot air gun to just try to dry it up a little bit, and I kept going. So I also stopped every once in a while to just make sure things were going smoothly and to remove pieces of clay. So I switched the camera angle and I kept on trimming. So this is part 1 for my pottery bowl or my cereal bowl. I will make part 2 soon when I paint it and fire it. But please like and subscribe if you and leave a like if you like this video. It really means a lot to me, and so I can continue making fun projects and videos like this. So this is my final result. And also don't forget to follow me on social media so you don't miss anything I post. I just smooth things down with my sponge, and this is the final result. Bye!